I got involved in public service because I thought that an outsider and a newcomer and a business-like approach could make a difference. And I thought that I could come in here and shrink a government and grow an economy and affect the reputation of our state.
Well, after 3.5 years in office, Governor Doug Ducey announcing his re-election campaign today, and it focuses on Arizona's recovery and continuing to grow our great state here.
And a lot of that has to do with the newly proposed budget for next year. So Governor Ducey is joining us this morning to talk about what to expect and how you're feeling reflecting on this latest legislative session and your progress thus far. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
Thanks for having me.
Well, obviously the teacher part is the highlight.
Yes, I think the capstone, the 20% pay increase for teachers, but we're really able to do a lot. We came in, we had a $1 billion deficit when we came in. Our economy wasn't going in the direction that we've wanted. Today, Arizona is among the fastest growing states in the nation. Maricopa County is the fastest growing county in the country. Paychecks are getting bigger. We have more jobs available than people that can fill them. But also able to put some money into K-12 education, and it was needed. Prop 123, the extension of Prop 301, and in this last legislative session, we were able to get the 20% pay increase for our teachers by school year 2020.
How do you want to ensure that that money goes where really this community wants it to go? That is funding the classroom and in teachers' paychecks so that they stay in Arizona and continue to teach.
We're working very closely with the districts to make sure that these dollars get into teachers' paychecks. And we want to focus on new teachers and entry-level teachers and teachers that are younger in the profession. Some of them are going to get a larger than 20% pay increase because we want to keep them in the profession. It's why we put the Teachers Academy together as well, so ASU and U of A and NAU students that are attracted to being in K-12 education classrooms can choose teaching, graduate debt-free, and have a job waiting.
One of the stories that we're running this morning, and it's really hard to watch, is this family separation policy. What's your opinion when you see that on TV and you see the video of children being separated from their parents? Because you go to our border quite a bit. What's going on there?
Well, no one wants to see children separated from their parents, and my heart breaks for these families. So I also think we need to understand what's happening at the border. We do have some folks that are showing up with children who are not their own. We do have some human trafficking going on. People that are coming, seeking asylum at our ports of entry are not being separated from their children. But if they're coming across the border illegally, there is a judicial process that's going on. There is a separation. Once that's completed, they're reunited as quickly as possible. That's what I've been told. I was on a conference call with other border governors, Governor Brown, Governor Martinez, Governor Abbott, and Secretary of Homeland Security Kirstjen Nielsen this past Friday. She took us through all the situations, and I do think there is a possibility for better policy here. I really would like to see Congress act on immigration. This is whether it's a Republican administration or Democratic administration, there's much we can do around border security and better immigration policy.
If this were to happen in Arizona at our border, whether someone was seeking asylum or crossing illegally, would there be something that you would be able to do about that?
So if they're seeking asylum and they come through the ports, there will be no separation. If they come through the border in a legal crossing, there's going to be a prosecution that's going to take place. If it's a first time, it's a misdemeanor and they're reunited, and then comes deportation. If they're a felon who's coming back over a second time, sometimes there are situations where this isn't their child. So there's a process that goes on, but I do think there's possibility for better policy here.
I'm sure you've seen all the school shootings by police in the news lately. I think there's been 27 so far in 2018 for Phoenix alone, and they're doing a study to look at what's going on out there. Obviously, police officers face a very violent public on occasion, but what's your reaction to all those going on?
These are shootings that have happened outside of school. These are in the normal work.
Yeah, just...
So, you know, my dad was a police officer. I have a lot of empathy for what our policemen and women face on the front lines. So I think whenever there's an officer-involved shooting, of course, there should be the appropriate investigation. But from what I've understood, there hasn't been any shooting that's been out of line. And I think the chief wants to dig into this and see why are we seeing this spike in shootings, and especially in comparison to other times. I know we've enjoyed a very safe community here in Phoenix and Greater Phoenix, and basically in the state of Arizona as well. I give our men and women and first responders, law enforcement leaders a lot of credit. So let's figure out what's the root cause, and if there's a way we can make a fix or improve, but let's get what the facts are, because these folks have a tough job, and sometimes a deadly force is necessary.
And it's a case-by-case basis.
Absolutely.
Every single circumstance is different. As you reflect on your first term and look toward a re-election campaign that I imagine will be challenging as any election, what are you most proud of, and what do you maybe feel regretful for that you wish you would have handled differently?
I am most proud of the fact that our economy is really growing. When I came into office, that wasn't where we are. Today, Arizona's economy is booming. We've got people flocking here from around the country, 200,000 new residents in the last 3 years, 160,000 private sector jobs. I think in terms of what you can do better, you know, you become smarter and wiser as a governor as you're in the position. And I think this anticipation of that we can do more for K-12 education, the fact that we were able to address a 20% pay increase for teachers, but that we could have put that plan out there in January rather than having to deal with it in April. I am proud that we were able to basically put a new budget out there and get those pay increases, and you can see if you go to our Twitter feed at Doug Ducey by district what these raises are in this next year, which should total up to at least 20% by 2020. In many cases it will be more, but you always want to anticipate a problem, but sometimes you have to solve a situation, and that's part of leadership.
We're out of time, but I do want to ask you one more question about school safety. I think the bill you were talking about was not approved. Where do you go from here? Any new ideas?
Olivia, that would be another thing that I would have been disappointed in. I want to do more on school safety. I think our stop orders, our severe threat order of protection, I'm glad we got some money there for counselors. We need more counselors. We need to improve our background checks, but I want to make sure that principals and law enforcement leaders and mental health counselors can make decisions if there was, God forbid, a situation in Arizona that we could avoid it like what they've had in Parkland and other parts of our country.
Oh, we all hope
Very
that.
important
That's an across-the-board agreement, right? Governor Ducey, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. I thought you just wanted to see our new set, but apparently you did have something to talk about.
We've upgraded. It was just for you. Let's check in with Kylie. Kylie is covering the traffic for Gina.